beast could be anywhere. You have no idea.
What's up, everybody? And today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Black Costume Spider-Man. And of course, first and foremost, we got to, of course, take a look at the packaging. So it is some pretty basic packaging for the most part. Got a nice, red style to it with the Gamerverse logo on the top. Marvel Spider-Man 2 on the bottom there. Peter Parker black suit. Nice spider logo in the background there. Got to look at black costume Spidey on the side. And on this side, just got to look at some of the other figures in the wave, along with a look at the black suit Spidey. I really love how they did this background here. Really reminiscent of the skin locker in the game. I really love that. On the side here, not too much. Got a little icon there of black suit Spidey, and nothing really too crazy else, but that is it for the packaging. Now that we've taken a look at the packaging, let's take a look at the figure himself. So, take a look at Black Suit Spidey. Of course, we will go over the details first and foremost. So, overall, it's a pretty nice looking sculpt. I do have my own issues with the sculpt itself, mainly the fact that it is all a matte plastic. Would have been nice if it was a little bit glossy, but we are going to fix that. But I do love all of the sculpted detail, even the kind of more muscly type of texture that the black suit had in the game, and onto the panel lines. I know a lot of people don't like the whole over-designed look of the symbiote suit. I think it's still cool. I like it. It's still, very clean and streamlined, even if it has a bunch of over-designed kind of areas and whatnot. The only thing I don't like is these kind of like very weird chevrons on the hands. Would have been nice if they were just the regular square patches. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. But overall, it is a very nice iteration of the black suit from the game. Now, mine does have a pin error on the spider symbol there. We might try to see if I can fix that up there. But if I can't, I can't. But I will try. Overall, nothing too much really crazy to talk about the design. It is very panel liney and done pretty well overall. And I do like the way that the logo is there. It is all sculpted in and everything. And of course, the head sculpt and whatnot. Yeah. So that is pretty much it for really talking about, the figure and its detail in its entirety, because there's really not too much going on. But with that being said, let's give him a makeover. And here he is, all done up and given a makeover. So I'll kind of go over what I really did. It's really nothing crazy. All I did was touch up the spider symbol with some of the portions and parts that were a little bit mispainted. There were some errors when I was kind of doing the gloss coat. You can kind of see it kind of did its little gloss coat thing. But all I really did was just fix up the spider logo a little bit. And then I applied a gloss coat to the parts that didn't have this muscle texture. Just so that way it had a little bit of a, slightly more game accurate look to it. And to be honest, makes it just stand out a little bit more and look more symbiotic. If that's, the correct term and everything. But yeah, it's nothing too crazy, nothing too different. I wanted to do something with the eyes, because the eyes have this kind of like grayed out kind of trim around the lenses. And I wanted to try and do that, but I just could not find a way to actually make that work. So this is honestly as good as he's going to look, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So besides looking good, let's take a look at his accessories. So right off the bat, he does have a pair of fists, which I also glossed up all the pairs of hands too as well. You do also get a pair of wall crawling hands, and you do get a pair of whipping hands. And for his final accessory, you do just get this really awful web. They keep adding this to a lot of different Spider-Man figures, and I hate it. But they did do something a little bit different here by adding some of these extra little bits hanging off of it, and then they have it in black, of course, to be more symbiotic-like, I guess. But to be honest, this still does not work for me, because this whole loop thing, and you can't really use it, because as you just saw, he doesn't come with any gripping hand, so you can't grip onto this. It's just more or less just a very useless piece. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen this before, or a lot of you guys have seen this before, so I'm not really going to go over it too much, but it is here, it is in black, and it has some extra little bits and pieces off of it. It's just not good. So, besides coming with almost little to nothing, how well does he pose? So, going straight into articulation, he's pretty decently articulated, but there are some flaws that I do not like, and I'll go over them. As for the head, it goes down about that far, up about that far, has some pretty good side to side. Head can go a full 360. His arm can go a full 360. Has the usual, up and down, but he can only go up that far. Has a bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows, and the usual hinge and swivel for the wrists or hands. Now, the glaring issue here with this figure is there's no butterfly joints. Yeah, that's right. No butterfly joints at all whatsoever. This sucks because I can't get him in certain Spidey poses that he's gonna need to do. I don't know why they didn't put butterfly joints in him, but honestly, a Spider-Man figure with no butterfly joints is kind of a fucking crime. Yeah, I just wish he came with butterfly joints. He really shoulda. But anyway, for the torso, you do have the diaphragm joints, and you can do that a full 360. It does have the ab crunch too as well. You can go forward about that far, and you can go back pretty damn far. But he's pretty good. No drop down hips, but the legs can kick forward that far and back a little bit. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees that are also pinless. He has a calf cut, so at least he has that going on for him. And he has his foot can't really go up at all. It can go back pretty good, but can't really go up. And he does have ankle pivots. So his articulation is kind of limited. Although he is a nice looking figure, just that articulation is just so limited. I just wish they put more into him because he needed butterfly joints. I feel like the calf cut's a bit useless. I would have traded the calf cuts for some butterfly joints in a heartbeat. But we got what we got, and unfortunately, all we can do is really bitch about it. And then it won't ever get fixed. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the articulation. Now let's do a post test.
Thankful any of you can still walk. But break it. I'll break them. I see any of you again, I won't be so nice. You'll regret this. Tell your friends, New York is closed. They might lose the cops, but they can't lose me. I need this suit. It makes me a better Spider-Man. You just want it for yourself. All I want is to save you. I'm the hero. I don't get sick. I can't let this go. I'm finally everything everyone needs me to be.
Yeah, you don't even answer my calls anymore, man. And what about MJ? You could have killed him. I know you're hurting Pete, but you're better than this.
I know, but...
So, I hope you guys enjoyed that post test. But now we're going to get into scale. But before that, I think I'm going to do a little bit of a section that's going to be different for this video. I'm gonna start doing with videos and whatnot. And I'm just gonna share my action figure kind of Photoshop skills. So this is the picture that I did for this figure. It is up on my Insta, so just go ahead and check that out when you guys get a chance. If you would like to follow my Insta for my action figure pics and everything, and things that I just occasionally post. So I will share those pics here right before we do scaling now for videos and everything, just so I can kind of show it off and everything. But anyway, yeah, let's get to scale. So first off, here he is next to one of his wave mates. So here he is next to the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Black Cat. As you can see how they look next to each other, and they look pretty damn good. And then, of course, next up, just, for the fun of it, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Retro Carded Shocker. Just, for the fun of it, even though we don't have a Gamerverse Shocker yet. And then now I'm going to show a little bit of comparisons between some other different black suits. So here he is next to the Ultimate Spider-Man black suit there. And then here he is next to my custom Web of Shadows black suit Spidey. And then here he is next to the Spider-Man 3 black suit Spidey with a custom head. And then here he is next to, and this is Black Spider-Man with Venom, but here he is next to Agent Venom. And then after that, one last size comparison. Here he is next to the Gamerverse Venom, which, of course, Gamerverse Venom is a bit of a big boy. You can see my ring light there. But, yeah, that is pretty much it for the comparisons. Now, let's get into the final thoughts on this figure. All in all, I actually pretty much love this figure. I mean, there's really not a whole lot I would change with it. Other than that web accessory, get that out of here. Just give him something more like how the Venom got. Give him something like this. Not whatever that was. But yeah. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe and whatnot, and follow my Insta. But let's get into the final thoughts.
So, getting into the final thoughts on Black Suit Spidey, I love this figure. I think the sculpting is great. I think everything is really great. The only thing that he really suffers from is the articulation, and that is, of course, with the butterfly joints. As you can see right here, these photos did not make the cut just because these poses you cannot pull off. He cannot do a crouching pose. He can't really... honestly, he can't even really look up all that far. So, the only downside to this figure is some of the articulation. He definitely could have used butterfly joints. He should have came with butterfly joints. Other than that, he has your basic Legends style articulation. It's just that head is kind of limited. And the lack of ball joints really does hurt this figure quite a bit. The sculpting is beautiful. I love the sculpt work on him. The web accessory sucks, obviously, of course. But the painting and the sculpting is what really makes this figure pretty great. You do also get, every single pair of hands that you would need for a Spider-Man figure. So, there's not really too many complaints all around. Other than my own personal belief is that a Spider-Man figure should not have butterfly joints. I feel like butterfly joints is a mandatory thing for a Spider-Man figure because there are a lot of poses that Spider-Man should be able to do that you cannot do with him. But he does look really great with a gloss coat on, and he does look really great next to some other characters and such that I have in my collection. So I'm pretty happy to have him, and plus you can use the Venom accessory on him, which is pretty cool. But anyway, that's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, follow my Insta, and I'll see you guys in the next one.